People who quit a job in the heat of the moment. What *TSHOW did you leave them to handle? Didn't get a bonus because they felt the overtime I did paid me more than the bonus they gave to everyone else. I didn't know what to say to that, so after a few hours I offered to get coffee for everyone. Then I left and never came back or contacted them again. I keep thinking that I should go back with coffee now I've been gone 10 years and just act normal. That would be the realest thing I've ever heard of a person to do. I'll bet it's 100% different staff now. Everyone would be like, "Who are you? Thanks for the coffee." This is the employee version of going out to get cigarettes. "Sorry I'm late, the line was huge." You'd make a great dad someday. I got stabbed in the shoulder while working as a bookmaker betting shop manager. I was the only key holder, and while the paramedics were tending to me the area manager was on the phone asking me to open the store the next day. I closed shop for the day, came back once I got out of hospital, put my keys in the safe, and left my notice on the desk. Store didn't open for 3 days while they sorted a field manager. I spent some time working at a gas station where my supervisor would take about 20 smoke breaks a day while demanding that the rest of us work harder. After several days of this, and my boss not doing anything about it, I quit in the middle of a pizza order rush. Yes, it is Cass's. For some reason, I was reluctant to give away the real name at the time of writing this. There was a pizza order rush at a gas station. Was it a side of the highway rest stop? A lot of people will make a pit stop at Cass's because of its pizza slices. I even saw one guy picking up a whole pizza to key it from Cass's. They're grease bombs, but pretty tasty for gas station pizza. Cass's is the best, man. Their breakfast pizza can't be beat. It's gotta be a Sheetz. They're like a Wawa, but the food is better, and they've got pizza that's not half bad too. I worked at a sub shop for 2 years. The last 2 weeks we were so short that I was working a 70-hour work week, and I wasn't even being worked the hardest. I was loyal to the company, but the management wasn't fantastic, and I was severely underpaid. I had a friend who knew about my work situation, and without telling me referred me to his much better job. The job called one day while I was working a double at my sub shop. After I got off work I went by the place and was hired. I immediately called the owner of my store and quit. They were so short-handed that there wasn't enough people for a shift. They had 5 total employees. But now I have way better insurance, and great management. I'm happy with jumping off the boat. Working at KFC, when I was younger I just up and left when we were opening. I was newish and left alone to handle opening the entire kitchen, which takes some time. Accepting a delivery, which in the locale in a shopping mall also took some time. Cleaning and mopping up, prepping first serves, and so on and so on. Basically a job for 4 people had to be done by me alone in the time I was supposed to just get the kitchen going. And I got yelled at and name called for not managing to do it. It wasn't the first time either. Anyway, I left them without notice and they realized 20 minutes later that there is no movement in the back and started calling me XD. I worked in a really bad grocery store in a deli with only 4 people for the entire day every week. I went in one day, got berated for how I closed the deli and how everything was a mess the night before, being interrupted and condescendingly mocked every time I tried to tell her that I didn't work last night. Eventually she said just do a better job tonight, and I said I didn't work last night. It was name but bye. A few weeks later they went bankrupt and everyone lost their jobs anyway. Obviously it wasn't because of me, but I didn't care. Just a means to an end while I went to college. Only job I've ever quit in the heat of the moment was when I was the griller at Sonic. I was 16 and failing most of my classes in high school. I was on day 19 with no days off, and the new schedule for the next 2 weeks was posted, and I didn't have a day off scheduled. I took my lunch break and never came back. The district manager called me a few hours later and said that was very unprofessional of me. I replied saying that it was unprofessional of management to have a high school student as the only person to work the grill. About 3 years later they closed that location down due to health code violations. Whereas I went on to graduate high school and have had a decent career in it. They wanted me to scan 3 years of documents to my email, organize them in the shared folder, box up the documents, and move them to a storage room back in the warehouse, where there's no AC, all in the middle of summer. It wasn't an option to just start electronic files. It all had to be done right then. Maybe not exactly the point of the question, but when I worked at this place for a year they never gave me a uniform. Everybody else had one but me. I don't know why, but it seems like they didn't want to waste their money on me or something. People who literally had the same charge as me and had gotten hired after me got a uniform immediately. After a year they finally spent money on me and gave me my uniform, and I quit the next day. I could tell they were more upset because of the uniform situation than me quitting. It was kinda funny. BTW, I did not quit because of the uniform situation. It was for multiple reasons. The timing just coincided. The owner screaming at me on the radio in front of customers and coworkers for something I had nothing to do with. I just turned off my radio mid-rant, walked back to the hangar a quarter mile away, abandoning the truck, turned in my uniform, and walked off the job. Enough that the company disappeared. It was very satisfying even to this very day. Oh, I have to know the story. Please elaborate. We were already understaffed when they threatened to fire half the staff for poor performance. I'm sorry, but I don't even think bank tellers are even capable of opening up 3 CR cards a day for people. I worked in retail. I was working in fast food at a Sonic. Me and my cousin both worked there. We had family come into town and told our boss that we both had to take Friday off 4 days in advance. Our boss said no problem. We both show up to work on Saturday and our boss fired my cousin and told me that I was on thin ice. After that he told me I was going to have to run the kitchen by myself that night and that he would help me when I needed it. He then let the other cook go home. I stayed at work for about 2 hours, right up until the Saturday night rush hit. I took off my apron and my work shirt and threw it at his desk. Best feeling ever. The entire waitstaff's paychecks bounced the second week in a row. Friday night we all demanded our tips in cash. We usually got them the following day and they were usually less of what we were owed. Our boss and the cleaner refused to give us our tips, claiming there was not enough in the register. We all received our 2 weeks paychecks in cash the next day, but still not our tips. So we all simultaneously walked out during the dinner rush. Bartenders, servers, and chefs. It was glorious. Delivery to the store was 3 hours late. We were almost caught up in an hour and the assistant store manager sent us all home early for being lazy and intentionally slow. Next day I show up and the other 2 guys called out and he thought I would do the truck alone while he sat in the office. Told him I'd bring the uniform back and left, didn't take the uniform back. Probably should have elaborated they had recently denied me time off for my dad's open heart surgery, which was high risk because he has already had 3 other ones. I never called in and never really asked for time off and was never late. On top of that, the night stock managers would make me do their work plus mine, which was my 4 hours in their 2 or 3. I was already at my wit's end and that powerful speech at the rally convinced me that I should pursue other careers and not doom myself to early death from a back-breaking and unrewarding job. Happened to my brother. He worked as a medical assistant at a dermatologist's office when our grandfather died. When he went to his boss to ask for 2 days off to go to the funeral, his boss was reluctant and had the audacity to ask, "Were you too close?" To which my brother stood up and walked out. My job threatened to fire me after missing 1 day, so on the busiest day of the year, I arrived, told them I quit, and left. Night guy quit. They assumed I'd be around all summer. They had to find someone new for both positions at a store that's criminally understaffed. We were the 2 best workers. I hope David Cameron comments here. I hop on National Pancake Day. There were tons of customers and some news crews. Was a case manager in behavioral health. They just moved the cases around, reassigning general mental health GMH and serious mental illness SME. SME had smaller caseloads due to the severity of cases. GMH usually had at least 200 people on caseload. I went in one morning at 8 and quit at 10. Hope they had fun with angry members and having to reschedule everyone who hadn't napped with me and reshuffle them off to different case managers. In high school I worked at a grocery store that had very sexist hiring practices. The men do the bagging groceries, stocking, trunk loading, etc. and the women stay up front and look pretty for the customers, cashier, and then have to stay later to do all the cleaning after close. Worked there during the summer, and then when school rolled around and I tried to get my hours so that I could still do my drama club, they tried to convince me to quit my club because all the male high schoolers had to work around their sports. I guess that was more worth, while in his opinion, I just quit outright, and then I had to find an entirely new place to shop because the manager harassed me every time I came in trying to get me to come back.